What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Goblins Den, Season 1, Episode 3. This video is for Range 11. I hope I got the number right. I don't know what it is, just can't get numbers. But he wanted to know about the Amazing Spider-Man 2, how I thought about the movie, which I didn't see it at first, but I got a chance to see it finally last night. There we go. I actually only paid $3 because my friend Richie, thanks again to Richie for giving me free tickets. We used the free tickets and we upgraded to the 3D, so it cost us $3 for my fiance and I together. So that's not that's pretty damn good. But he wanted to know about what I thought about Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, right off the bat, I liked it. I thought it was cool. I'm not being biased because it's a Spider-Man film. I don't, my friends are always like, you're always kind of, biased towards Spider-Man and Batman. I'm like, yeah. But I thought it was cool. I thought it was done really well. It's going to be tough to try to talk about this movie without giving any spoilers, but I'm going to do my best. A lot of times when I saw, like, the first Amazing Spider-Man and I see this one, I got to keep reminding myself that it's based off the Ultimate series and not the regular series, even though they kind of mix some of the regular stuff into the Ultimate stuff, if that makes sense. But when I watched it, I was like, this is pretty cool. I liked how they did Electro. At first, I didn't think Electro was going to be good, especially with Jamie Foxx. I'm like, it's just going to be retarded. It's going to look stupid. The way they're doing him is just, But then again, you always get people that bitch and moan about the way Electro looks in the regular series with the giant, spark or star or whatever you call it. But I always thought that costume was cool. But in this one, he's got his Ultimate costume. It's like just the regular leather-looking suit. Looks like a biker suit. But it does work. I mean, it does make a lot more sense to have that. Like, if you're looking at, it's kind of the problem with comic book movies, but it's also their one of the good things about them is that they're trying to base it off what would really happen if you, I guess, had these powers, or what would you really look like, if you got this, what kind of suit would you really wear, kind of thing. So it makes more sense, but at the same time, you're kind of, there's Gizmo meowing. At the same time, you're kind of like, you want to see these costumes, you want to see the costumes that, from the comics, you want to see what they look like on the big screen. But then at the same point, you kind of feel like it kind of feels like it's like a childish thing, like kind of like I saw it, but it looked like crap. But anyway, so I thought Electro was cool. I thought they did him pretty damn well. I liked how they did his voice. His voice was really cool. So that was a lot of fun. The Rhino, like I said, I'm going to try to... Everyone knows the Rhino, the Goblin, and Electro in there, so it's not really giving away anything. The Rhino was interesting. I guess, again, it makes sense in a way, like the way they did that. It was cool. I wasn't too disappointed with the Rhino. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's how you're going to do it. All right, without giving away, just think about it like the Rhino is like Iron Man in a way, if you want to really kind of go into it. But the one thing I was disappointed with, but not disappointed with, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, and that, of course, is the Green Goblin, which they never mentioned him as the Green Goblin. So that's at least interesting, because in the Ultimate series, the comic book series, Harry Osborn is the Hobgoblin, which I thought would have made a lot more sense. But in this, he's decked out in green, so you got to assume that he's the Green Goblin, because in the regular series, he is the Green Goblin. They just made him look stupid. They just can't seem to get the Green Goblin right. It's amazing. Like the first one. The first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, he looked like a Power Ranger in a way, just like a giant dome kind of thing, and, well, dome, whatever, but I got used to it. It made sense. Like, it made more sense. Like, this is, a military kind of thing. It's almost like the same thing in Japan when they had the samurais wear the masks to try to spook their opponent, like, kind of get you off guard and off your balance and just, they kick your ass. It's kind of like what the Green Goblin was in the first Spider-Man. But this one, they were mixing Ultimate with the regular in a way, because in Ultimate, the Green Goblin doesn't have a glider, he flies. So in this, they gave him the glider, which looked a lot better than the other one. So that's kind of a plus. but then they mixed the Goblin kind of thing where he looks goblinish, like, you know, long fingernails, pointy ears, you know, teeth that are like green, and he's got like green shit all over his face, and his eyes are like, you know. And the guy who played Harry Osborn wasn't bad, but he was creepy to begin with, and then you go and you put goblin stuff on him. And then they use the it's again, like I said, they mixed the original series with the Ultimate, because he uses a pumpkin bomb, but it's the same pumpkin bomb from the original Spider-Man's, like the little, which is alright, but it's just like they can't seem to get it right, even when they mix it up, you know, mix it together, it looks like shit. I know you can't please everybody, but, you know, just once I'd like to see them get the Goblin right. And if you're gonna do the Green Goblin, pick one or the other. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, it's kind of cool how they were trying to mix the two. But if you're gonna go out and make it the Green Goblin from the Ultimate Series, then make it the Green Goblin from the Ultimate Series. You know, make him this giant goblin that throws fireballs and shit. You know, but they have to do it the other way, where it's, you know. I don't know. That's the only thing I was kind of pissed off about. Like, the Green Goblin, just like, he looked like something from Legend, I guess. You know, like kind of like the little goblin. Like, even that would have been better than what they had with him. So I wasn't too pleased with the Goblin. Harry Osborn was kind of yeah, but the Goblin himself just kind of just sucked. He was not really all that good. I mean, I actually like the Rhino over the Green Goblin, and that's sad, because the Green Goblin was my favorite villain. So that's rough. But other than that, like I said, overall, the movie was good. I liked it. I thought it was cool. A lot of my friends were like, you know, it was alright. You know, I'd give it, like, I don't know, I 1 out of 5. I'd give it like a 2, or I'd give it a 3, and I'd give it a 5. I thought it was cool. Just other than the Green Goblin thing, it was interesting. And Andrew Garfield is an awesome Spider-Man / Peter Parker. When Tobey Maguire first became Spider-Man, you know, way back when, which is crazy considering that's over a decade old now. Wow, time just. Whew. But when he was Spider-Man and/or Peter Parker, when I heard about it, I was like, I don't know. He's gonna screw it up. He's gonna screw it up. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck so bad. But I liked him. I thought he was an awesome Peter Parker. I thought he was an awesome Spider-Man. But then when you get Andrew Garfield, he's so much better than Tobey Maguire. He fits it like perfectly. Like there's more. It's more Spider-Man-ish. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, he's got more of a, I guess, the comedic timing with Spider-Man. You know, he just kind of has the whole, I'm going to make fun of you while I kick your ass kind of thing. That's why I always love Spider-Man, is that he just, like, totally messes with you while he's just beating the crap out of you. And he does it so much better than Tobey Maguire. I just thought it was awesome. And a lot of, like, little things they did, like little, well, you'd have to see it, but like I said, I'm not going to give it away. But it was just interesting. How they did the spider sense was a little interesting. They kind of took it almost like from the original Spider-Mans, because the thing that is, I just don't think they ever were able to get the spider sense really totally right. But this, they're kind of getting there. It's like they're showing little bits of it, like how it works. Because like if you look at the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. When they had him in like the high school, when like he's facing his locker and he senses everything like a fly, you know, a spitball, and then he senses the fizz coming from behind him and moves. That was cool, because it's like, alright, this is how his spider sense works. He's aware of everything, potential danger all over the place, and then the most dangerous part, I guess, that's coming towards him is what he reacts to. But then, of course, they screwed it up a lot in that whole series, because like when he's fighting the Macho Man in the cage, he's getting nailed, and in the comics, Spider-Man's pretty hard to hit. Like, you know, he knows when it's coming. He knows when it's, you know, no matter where it's coming from, he knows where it is. And the only thing I could chalk that up to is that he wasn't, you know, too aware of his spider sense yet. I guess he wasn't used to it. That's why he was getting nailed. Which could make sense. But then some of the other ones, like I said, he's getting nailed. Like the third one, okay, the symbiote doesn't trigger his spider sense. Yes, Gizmo, I know. So that makes sense. But Spider-Man 2, you know, I guess they had to make it so he was losing his powers. But yeah. But in the Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, they're kind of fixing it. They're trying to make it, you know, at least not more believable, but at least you get an idea of how it's working. So that was cool. Very cool. The web shooters are cool. I like how they did the web shooters, like in the Amazing Spider-Man. It's better than the organic thing. I mean, I know that was a huge thing back then. It's like, oh, you can't give Spider-Man organic webbing, even though it makes sense in a way. But if they really wanted to make it like realistic, it would shoot out of his stomach because that's his ab. That's where they come out of the real spiders. So, I mean, but you know, they had a little glob of whatever, and that's where it would shoot out of his wrist, which was like, okay. But at least in this one, he's got his web shooters. You know, they can be destroyed. They can be, you know, he can tinker with them and all that stuff. So it's cool. And I like the costume a little better. They kind of kept, like in Amazing Spider-Man, they kind of kept like the old school kind of costume and mixed a little bit of the new stuff in there. This is very cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't want to get too much into it because then I'd start giving a lot of stuff away. And Gizmo's being Gizmo. So yeah, but I mean, overall, it's definitely worth seeing in the theaters. That's how I always say on videos and with movies when you go to see them, if it's worth seeing in the theaters or not, if it's worth paying. You know, well, normal ticket here was $11.50, so it's worth the $11.50. Yes, it is. It's definitely worth seeing it in the theaters. It's definitely worth buying on DVD. Of course, there was like a whole secret ending where you had to download an app. Trust me, it's not even worth it. The secret ending thing was stupid, extremely stupid. And they do have an X-Men Days of Future Past clip at the end, which was interesting, but it's nothing like that you're not going to see. So it's not like it's I don't know. It's not like it's something like with Spider-Man, like they're showing like, you know, the Sinister Six, or they're showing Venom or whatever. They're just showing a clip from a movie that's coming out, which is oddly enough at the same month, which they've never done that before. I've never seen any comic book movie come out have two the same month. So Marvel's kind of like kicking it into gear. They're like, hey, we're gonna crush people. So interesting though, yeah. So X-Men comes out in May 23rd, which I'm definitely gonna try to see that right away because that looks awesome. It looks awesome. But definitely go see Spider-Man 2, especially if you're Spider-Man fans. He's agreeing, right, Giz? Go see it. If you can hear him. It was definitely worth seeing in the theaters. It's definitely a pretty good movie. I liked it. I would give it a 5. Yeah, I'd probably give it a 5, a 4.5 or a 5, if you want to go from 1 to 5, because it was awesome. Like I said, the only thing I didn't like was the Goblin. They just keep screwing him up left and right. It's just like they don't know what to do with him. And the other thing, before I go, the other thing that was interesting is that the way they did this, they did it much better than Amazing Spider-Man 3. Because Amazing Spider-Man 3 had all the villains, and they were kind of like, they weren't really stepping over each other, but you kind of felt like they were. In this, the way they spread it out was awesome. They made it perfect. Like, they made it where he's fighting this guy, let's focus on this character, and then they kind of brought this character in slowly, but you would still focus on this guy, and you wonder what was going on with that. And then once this was completed, this one came in, and you're like, okay, you focus on this one. And then once that thing was almost completely done, you focus on the third one, you're like, oh, alright. So that was cool. Oh, and the action sequences in there kicked a lot of ass, especially with Electro. Very, very cool how they did the stuff with him. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was very, very cool. So definitely go see it in the theaters if you haven't. It's worth it. And that will do it. So please, like, comment, subscribe, dislike, whatever it is you want to do. Let me know in those little comment things below. And it's not the size of your cave that matters. It's what you have in it. I hope this review was fun. Maybe I'll do another one down the line with actual stuff. I'll actually tell you what goes on. Who knows? So, later, everyone.